I want to show you 5 new reporting and control enhancements in the Business Central 2023 Release Wave 1. We'll look at how preview posting has been expanded within Business Central, the ability now to review GL accounts and transactions, and also how to set up default dimensions on locations. There's a nice new feature you're going to really like. It's called Analyze. It's available on list pages, and we'll take a look at that. There's also statistical accounts that we can use in Business Central to keep track of non-financial data and also use that in account schedules. The ability to preview posting information before you actually execute the post is very nice in Business Central. It allows you to see what's going to happen and the accounts in the dimensions, in the dollars, before you post a transaction. This function is now expanded to include these journals and transaction types. So let's take a look at it. Here's the item journal, and before Wave 1, I could edit it and work with it as a normal journal, but I could not see the posting before I actually posted it. But now all I need to do is go up here, preview posting, and I get that information. I get the GL entries, also the item ledger and the value entries. It allows me to check what's going to happen when I post these transactions. This is a powerful function in Business Central, and you're going to want to make use of this new functionality. The next thing I want to do is show you the ability to control the review of posted transactions in Business Central. This is beyond the approval process. This is after the transaction has been posted. It allows you to specify certain accounts that need review. And there's a couple ways to do this. So this is my chart of accounts, and I have these accounts for review that I set up. We can take a look at those accounts. And the way that they're marked for review is the review policy here. We've got some options, none, which is the default, and then allow review, and then allow review with match balances. I use the allow review here, and I've got these 3 accounts that I want to review at the end of the month before I issue financial statements to make sure that they're correct, and it allows me to review and mark the posted transactions. So if I select an account here and go to related and review the entries, I can see I've got these 2 entries. The second entry has already been reviewed and it's marked as such. If I want to review the first one, all I need to do is select it and then set selected as reviewed. It marks the checkbox here. I've got the ability to unselect it if I want to. This allows me to check the integrity of the data before I publish the financial statements. Here's another approach I thought might be used. It's something I would use as a controller. I've got my general ledger entries. Let's take a look at those. I've set up a filter for transactions to review. And this is looking at the accounts that I've marked for review and shows me them here. These are the ones that are not yet reviewed. So I can select the transaction here and go to review entries. I'll see all the entries in that account and I can mark them as reviewed. It shows the user that reviewed it and the time they reviewed it. So this is perfect. This is a strong tool to review your GL accounts and transactions to make sure you've got solid data before you publish your financial statements. Next, let's take a look at the locations and how you can set up a default dimension on the location. We'll do that here. This is one of the locations I use in my demo system, and I can set up default dimensions right here. I'll click on that. I've set up a dimension for the business group to always be home. So this is handy. If I want to track dimensions by location, I can use the default here. I can always override that in specific transactions. This will strengthen the control of your transaction posting and reporting within Business Central. This next feature I want to show you is very powerful. It allows you reporting options on list pages. A list page is something like the vendors here. This is a list page. It just shows a list of vendors. And what I can do is I've got this new option here to analyze. Let's open that up. When I turn that on, it changes the look of the screen slightly, but it adds the ability to have separate tabs that show different information. So I've got my vendor list here. This is the default tab that comes up. I can change it if I want to. I can change the name. I can add additional tabs. But let's look at the tabs. I've got the ability for each tab to have the columns I want to include in that tab. So if I don't want some of these columns, I can just take them off. I don't really need the contact. Search name means nothing to me, right? So I've got this. I can change the columns. And I can also group them. So if I want to group by the location, I can just drag this down here. And now I've got it grouped by location. I can open those up. I've got the vendors here. I can drill down on this and see the transactions. Let's rename this to location. There we go. And then I want to add a new tab, and I get the whole list back again. So I can change this too. So I want to change the search name. I don't need that. And we'll take the contact out again. Let's look at the analysis filter. So I got the ability to filter on values in this screen here. And what I want to do is just look at vendors to whom I owe more than $500. So I've got these operators down here. I say greater than $500. It changes the vendors that I'm now looking at. I've got the ability here to drill down as well, look at the transactions. So this is useful just for navigating and focusing my attention on what's happening. So I filter my vendors by the amount that I owe them, but I can also use pivot mode here. I'll turn this on, and I've got the ability to also set up columns. So in this case, maybe I'll take the location down here. Now I've got two columns across the top that my vendors are associated with. I can see that here. If I want to get rid of some additional data, I can just take it off here and save it. I want to rename this. And now I have two analysis tabs. This is handy because I can go back to this anytime I want to and get the same report. So if I turn Analyze off, I get the regular list page. When I turn Analyze back on, I get my tabs that I already added. I can change these, I can add different ones, I can delete them, and I get the same information. This is a handy way to look at your data in Business Central and get further insights into it. The next thing I want to show you is Statistical Accounts. This allows you to post and track non-financial information in Business Central. Let's take a look at the Statistical Accounts. I've set up one here for square footage. This is a pretty common one. To create a transaction, you open up the Statistical Account Journal, you enter your information, and then you register it. So I've entered some before, and this is the balance. This is the balance I have in the statistical account for square footage for this particular year. One of the ways I can use this is in financial reports. I've set this one up here for rent to show it real easily. What I'm doing here is I'm pulling in this GL account rent. I've got the total here, and then I've got the square footage coming in from the non-financial statistical account. Then I'm doing a simple formula down here to have the rent expense per square foot. You can see that here. I've got it broken out by location, and these are the dimensions I have in my general ledger set up. We can look at the row definition, very simple. Again, I've got the posting account, the statistical account, and a simple formula, and that's it. Let's go back and look at the column definition. Simple column definition, I'm pulling in information by dimension, displaying it on the screen. This is new functionality that I think you're going to enjoy in Business Central. It's available in the 2023 Release Wave 1.